And welcome everybody. My name is Peter Del Tondo and I am your host for the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenges. I am nice and calm today. My internet didn't go out 30 seconds before the stream. Mild panic attacks yesterday. But really excited today to talk about voice triggers. If this is your first time doing voice triggers, let us know in the chat. Really excited to see how many folks haven't yet gotten to play with this in Adobe XD. Really excited, and thanks for tuning in. We've got Rathel, Jack, Cars, Stone. Good to see all of you guys. Stone, thanks for being here like every day. I've seen you in chat. Really appreciate it. If you have not yet participated in the challenges before, make sure that you head on over to behance.net/challenge/xd. And in there, you'll be able to join the Discord community group. And I'll share a little bit about that, as well as a nice little link to get that going as well. And so what we're going to do each day, we're doing these one-off daily challenges. These should be little challenges that I want you to complete anywhere between 30 to 90 minutes. And just we're trying to teach you guys new skills, new ways of thinking about things, and showcase some of the awesome features that you can utilize in Adobe XD. So each day you can come here, you'll get the starter file, as well as be able to click on this and watch the replay of the file or of the video of the live stream each day. So if you miss one, hop back in here. If we come down here to the bottom of the page, you can also see some of the past challenges that I've hosted, as well as Andrea, Melody, Sam, Howard, and see what we've all been working on, and check some stuff out. It's always good to learn. And let's see, we've got Marcella, Andrew Hawkrattle, good to see you, buddy. And if you have not yet, head on over and join the Discord group right up here, bit.ly/XD Discord, and it's really great. When you come on over to Discord, you're going to want to live right here in this section, the feedback channel. This is going to be the current challenge. This is where we're going to be posting our work for these challenges, where you're going to want to show your Adobe XD link, your Behance link, and get feedback. And I love, as I work through here, we're seeing some awesome feedback from the community members, and I hope you guys, as you do that, as you break down work, as you critique, it helps you learn and understand and become better as well. And just want to shout out, I've seen Agata here giving a lot of critique recently, and she's been getting that critique back as you engage with that community. So really good to be a part of that. The more you get in, the more you get out. And then lastly, we've got the mentors and Adobe team over here. So if you guys have any questions, hit us up. We're here to help you. Make sure to tag us, and we'll make sure to get back to you with everything. So without further ado, let's jump into the file today. So in today's challenge, we're going to create a watch app that allows you to identify a song that you hear. So kind of think of Shazam or something like that. We want to be able to be out and about. You're at the gym, you're at a restaurant, wherever. You hear a song, you want to know what it is so you can add it to your playlist. So we're going to build out a couple of screens that are going to help us prototype that. And due to the short stream time, I've pre-built this, and I want to break down and show you guys how we did it, and what the logic of these things are and how to prototype it accordingly. I think you'll get more out of that than watching me do a couple of these items. So as we come down, let's come down here. And just in terms of inspiration, we want to think of things, again, Shazam is like a perfect example here. But we want some kind of central item and something that makes it feel like it's listening and evolving and whatnot. So we can do some really cool things with those animations. And let's have some fun. So let's just come up here. I want you guys to see some of the wireframes and process of this first, and understand why some of the decisions got finalized and why some of them didn't. So one of the things here that we're looking at, wanted to think through an animation. So I want, when you ask what we want to see, I want to have that feel like it's listening. So we need something that's going to evolve and modify and shape throughout. And so we can do that kind of one of two ways. We could do something with like a radial kind of pulse, feeling almost like a sonar or something. The other, we could do waves. And the reason I ended up not going with the waves is it's a little bit more, not just complex, but through the process, it's a more difficult transition to stop and then give the result. And I also liked that the pulse feels like something you could tap or touch or start. And so that could be something too, that you open up the app and then you tap, as you can't see, you tap the button, and that's what initiates the voice receiver. So I really liked that aspect of it. And when I was working on this with one of my teammates, Evan, like that was a decision that we made to move forward. We really liked the experience of that element. So just something to think through there. And then after we listen, we want it to take into a screen that shows the artist and the song name. We could even potentially play or pause the song. Maybe you can ask for more songs within this. So there's a lot of different things that we can do with this application. And I want to share some of this with you guys so that way you can think through and expand beyond, the limited scope that I'm going to show you here on the stream today. So let's first take a little zoomed out view of what we've got. And I know this is going to be a little small on your screens. We'll zoom into all of this. But at the start, I'm going to use a different name so that way I don't activate everybody's phones or smart home devices. We've done that before on the stream. It's kind of funny. But with that, I want to ask what we're going to transition into. So I want to ask like what song this is. Then I want to do a transition where it feels like it's listening. And so I'll break this down in a little bit, but I have a series of screens here that are going to set up that transition. And then it's going to spit out the results of that. And then I want to ask it as well, like add this song to Spotify so that way I can have it in my playlist. That's one of my favorite features of Shazam, that I can quickly, ask for a song, it auto adds it to a playlist, and that way I can go into Spotify later and be like, oh, here's all the cool songs that I found somewhere else. And so there's a lot of cool stuff that we can do with that. So without further ado, let's break that down. And if you guys have any questions along the way, drop it in chat. It's a little delayed on my end, but I'll try to answer them as close as I can as we go. So as I mentioned, we've got these screens built out, and let me walk through what the process is. So here, I'm going to ask what song this is. I then want to move into this listening interaction. It's this cool micro interaction here where I want the radial pulse to feel like it kind of comes in and out. Again, kind of like almost a sonar or something. And so what I'm doing is I literally just have repeated screens where if we look at this, let's just make this red. So literally screen 1, 3, 5, and 6 are all the same. And then in between that, I have 3 more screens, and let's just make this blue. And what you can see here is these 3 are the same. And so what it's going to literally do is I'm going to use auto animate, and it's going to be on a time release, and it's just going to go back and forth between these different items. And it's going to simulate that visual look of the program is thinking, it's finding the answer. And so that's a really important thing, because if we just spit it out, it's not going to be that instantaneous. It needs to listen. And so we need an interaction to keep the user's attention and focus. And you can do more things with this. Like as we come down, and I was looking at this again, you could do something where maybe you pull the shape out along the way so it feels like you get some audio waves in there as well. It could be really, really cool. And Sarah, good to see you here. And you got a new PC, awesome. New games coming out Friday night. I have a feeling a lot of us are going to be playing. If anyone wants to join, hit us up in Discord. All right, so along the way, we're going to be going through. After that, I'm going to do a time release, and that's going to bring us in now to the results and further. So let's jump into prototype mode so you guys can see exactly behind the wheel how this works. So I'm going to set up this first screen, and it's just going to transition over here. And what I do is I go over to my trigger, I select voice, and then I can put in the command. So I'm going to do, hey Tasha, what song is this? It's going to auto animate. It's going to ease in kind of quickly, so there'll be a quick duration. And then from there, I'm just going to go down the line, and there's going to be a 0-second delay. and it's got automate out, and it's just going to have this ease in and ease out with 0.4 seconds, and I'm going to keep that pattern going through all of these different screens. Okay, and so I'll show you guys what that looks like in a moment. And then this last screen here, again, it's just going to transition into the final result. And then from here, I'm going to click on this screen, and I have another trigger where I want to say, okay, add this to Spotify. And so it's gonna repeat back to me that this is the result of the song. So it's gonna say "High Wire" by Van Andrew. I have my speakers muted, so you guys probably won't hear it. And then from there, I've got another screen set up where I'm now gonna say, add this to Spotify, and we're gonna go through, and it's gonna have the transition where it's gonna, again, based on time after that, it's gonna ease in, and we've got our check mark here, which you guys can kind of see. There's a check mark hidden down below with that 0% opacity. If you remember, I think day 2 or 3 with auto animate, we want to hide some things so that way they come in really nice and smooth. So let's check out what this animation looks like. We'll go into prototype mode. And now you'll see this notification down here. You just have to hold down the space bar in order to activate the mic. So we'll come in here and we'll say, hey Tasha, what song is this? And you see that pulse, we see that cool interaction, and now it's gonna repeat back to me, this is Van Andrew, the song is High Wire. And then I can come over here, and now again, I can say, and just a little tip with this is also, I really like to have the voice commands down below so that as I'm looking through these and as I'm potentially, you can hit record and record the video here, that I want to know what to say. Sometimes you forget it. And since this is a prototype, it's not an actual phone or smart device where it can adapt and like learn something along the lines of what you said. It does need to be the same exact text or very, very close to. So it's nice to have those reminders so that I can now say, add this to Spotify. Add this to Spotify. And now it's going to go through, it showed me that transition. It takes me back to the song, and then I can even loop it back on that time delay to take me back to the start and start over with the new song. So, you know, just to break that down a little bit further, and David's asking, is there a way to copy the animation effect to a couple of screens at the same time? So no, you can't do multiple prototyping like all at once to where they all go to the same thing or whatnot. But what's really cool is that auto animate, like if I were to pull this down and let's just go, I'll create a new one. If I were to come here and say, go to this screen, and I'm just going to make this something random, but let's just say a drag, or let's do a tap, auto animate, and I'm going to set this up to like 1 second. It will remember those settings so that when I go to prototype the next one, it would have the same settings already. So you can just kind of quickly screen by screen. You do have to do it manually at each screen, but it will remember your last used settings, and it's going to expect that that's what you want. So as long as you do them sequentially based on the animation type, you'll be in really good shape. All right, so let's take a little peek again under the hood at the last screens here. So I've got that transition. Realize that came out. I must have hit spacebar. Add this to Spotify. And then from here, this is where, again, I'm using auto animate that immediately it's going to transition in 0.6 seconds. I could probably even slow this down a little bit, go up to a full second. Same thing here. I could do 1 second, and it's going to transition in. So at, let's see, this screen here, I go up to prototype. I say, add this to Spotify. And now you see that transition's a little bit slower, which I like because I feel like you see it a little bit more. The other one could have been missed a little bit. So it's really, really great to be able to do that. So let me know if you guys have any questions. I also want to do a fair amount of reviews today since we didn't get that chance yesterday with some technical difficulties. I want to review and showcase some of the awesome projects that have been coming in. But let me know if you guys have any questions and we can cover cover that. But really powerful. I mean, you guys can prototype like Amazon devices, and we'll just say Google devices, or Apple phone devices, or Google devices, so we don't activate anybody. But you can prototype those screens out, and it's really, really cool to be able to do that and do these prototypes to show a real world application of what you're building. It's really powerful when it's not just like click and tap, but being able to simulate that and do things like weather apps, personal assistants, to-do lists. It just totally changes the game on how you guys can build out your prototypes accordingly. And I think it's just an amazing feature in Adobe XD and something you guys can have a lot of fun with. So let's jump into some of the projects and see what you guys have been working on. I've been seeing some fantastic work. And again, feedback from the mentors, feedback from the community. It's really cool also seeing you guys update your projects after, and maybe even enhance some of those things that you've learned along the way. So with that, let's check it out. And Leia, yeah, there's a ton of great challenges that we've been working on. So make sure you go back and check some of them out, find the things that are really interesting to you. And again, we encourage you guys to build these challenges around your interests. So, find something else that maybe you guys can utilize voice triggers for. It doesn't need to be an Apple Watch. It doesn't need to be a music application. You can do anything you want with it. So have fun and incorporate that. All right, so this one I think was from Agata, who again was doing a ton of stuff and giving feedback in chat. And I really love this project. I almost did something like this the other day, kind of color coordinating the icons and whatnot over here. I think that's a really fun and nice touch. This feels like a real Chrome extension, which is super fun. I would probably just say lighten up the shadows. I would probably get rid of the shadow here and fill the space a little bit more. And then I would love the shadow here to be a little bit lighter. It's a little too much off the page. I think a little subtler would go a really long way. But again, this looks and feels great. I'd love to know, okay, so these are matching up with my icons. I would like the icons to be a little bit more in connection to what the item is. So like UI, UX, and a heart doesn't totally make sense to me, but I think for the most part, these other ones seem to work pretty well. But let's check into that. So we're now filtering it, which is great. And you've even brought it a layer deeper of like design and mood board, which is super cool. I'd probably want to indicate that in some way so that I know the difference, because right now I don't have that knowledge. But I can come here, hit add, okay, name, folder. So I would need in this case to be able to add a link, but most likely what I would do is I would click on the Chrome extension up here while I'm visiting a page and then fill out this information where I want to sort it to. So really great job on this project. It really, really smooth. All right, so we've got another one. I really like this project. I love that it kind of feels like it's in Adobe XD here, and it kind of is a way to organize your projects and assets and mood boards. And honestly, this is a feature I could see maybe even being added into XD in some way in the future, maybe through like a plugin or something. This is really cool. So let's check out the different things that we can do. I can jump over here, cycle into different mood boards. I can come in and add a URL. Cool. Again, I think most of this would be handled in a Chrome plugin, but great that we can do that. And this seems to be focused more on images. So maybe this makes more sense then. It's just something I drag in files that I've saved and downloaded. And then let's see, I can switch to dark mode, which is super cool. And let's see, Dweed, how do you go about the extent of your projects when doing such daily challenges? Can you clarify that a little bit? I want to make sure I answer it correctly, but I'm going to assume you might be asking like, how far do you take these projects? And I would say anywhere between like 3 to 5 screens. Build out a couple of things that allow you to stretch your legs a little bit with the design, and then build out enough that people can see a little bit of interaction, a little bit of variety, how you're solving a problem. It's hard to see on a single screen, but clicking through a little bit gives a little bit more insight. And if it's about 3 to 5 screens or more, then it's something that you could probably put in your Behance project, your portfolio, and show, your critical thinking skills, how you thought through the user experience, and do a little write-up about it to showcase what you're capable of. And we've seen a lot of fantastic people actually get hired for jobs or contract freelance projects through these XD challenges. So I highly encourage you guys to put in the effort on these. It can really, really pay off. And you're saying you find yourself spending a lot of time on the details and thinking about it too much instead of just doing it. That's also kind of part of the process. What we're doing here is user experience, and you need to stop and think through. If we come back to my project here, I had to first stop and go, what am I building? Why am I building it? What's the decision process through this screen versus going with this route? And so it is a lot of upfront thinking. But the thing is, by laying that foundation and doing your homework there, you're able to kind of quickly go in and then execute it later. So it's a balance. I'm probably more in your camp, where I spend more time thinking about it than building it out. And I know that can be frustrating sometimes, but just feel rest assured that's part of the process. It's normal. Don't have any kind of imposter syndrome or whatnot about that. We all go through it. All right, so let's keep going down the line here. We've got another one. This is going to be the one that I'm going to assume where we were talking about finding something to do that day. I think this was a couple days ago. What I would say on this project is overall it looks really nice. However, there's a couple things. The contrast of this yellow text is really difficult to read. So keep in mind, accessibility and just overall visibility of things. The other is that the type here is so small. So if I were to hold up my phone to my screen, this on screen is probably like 30-40% larger real estate than my actual phone. And as is, it's very straining and difficult to read this. It feels like, I don't know, maybe 4 to 8 point font. And so it's really, really difficult. I would definitely expand, maybe show a little bit less in terms of items at a time, but you got to make sure that this is all readable. Overall, again, looks really good. It's just, and here, I can't read these reviews. It's just way too small. These buttons, the text for more, everything's got to get bigger. You fix that, you're in really good shape. You've got all the basic understandings about a really clean design here. I think you've done a good job. I would just clean that up. Let's see. Okay. Another one. So I think this was from Ralph, who, again, just thanks for tuning in. I know I've seen you for so many challenges. I love the simplicity of this one here. I'd probably just say pull out the more menus over to the side a little bit more. But again, really quick and easy. I can see all bookmarks. I'm currently in design articles, sports, add new. I'm a little unclear here if this would add a new category or if this is adding a new link. I think it's the former, but I'm, again, not totally sure. But this is really clean, really easy. I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit more details, maybe when did I add this item? And maybe a little bit more differentiation in the type, like a lighter color, to help make it clear which one is selected or not. The weights of these fonts are similar to where it's a little tough to know that I was on design articles and not on all bookmarks. But let's check out, let's see, it looks like we can click here. This goes in. Okay, so I can remove one. So simple, clean, a couple of minor tweaks that I would do here to just make this feel a little bit more polished and realistic. But overall, really, really nice. Oh, and Raphael, great to see you here in the chat as well. Thanks, man. Okay, this one, I think we've got time for one or two more. The animations on this one were fantastic. I just love the loadout. I would probably speed up some of these animations. There were a couple where I felt like when I was first looking at this, I hit my arrow key to go to the next screen because I felt like something should be happening. But again, really great job. This comes in, everything loads. So again, I go a little bit snappier. It's nice that it's not overpowerful, but at the same time, with animations, if they take too long, people tend to think something's broken, it's not working, and they might abandon the app. So I would speed it up just a little bit, but this is just such a cool application here. We can click in this, I'm adding some items, and again, you've set this up as a sequence. So just super, super cool. Absolutely fantastic job. I love it. It's not quite like completely standardized in terms of how we might use like typical mood board apps like Pinterest and whatnot. It is a little bit more artistic, but used correctly, that can be a good thing. And I think this one stands out and is unique in a really cool way. Um, all right, so let's do one more here. We've got the light up application. So this is really cool. I can click in and see the rooms through here. It looks like I can change it from bright to dim. That's really cool. One thing I would love is if you could prototype these actually moving around, because it looks like I can cycle, like quick cycle the rooms through this feature, which is super cool. I'd love to see that prototyped out, but I can come back and go into the other room. Again, just really clean, really nice job on this. This works really, really well. And we've got one more here. So again, we've got our night mode. Turn this off. We can see what's in trash. Again, really cool. I might slow some of these ones down. This is one that feels a little too snappy, or maybe it's doing a bounce or a snap effect and it feels a little harsh. So, how you do these interactions is really important. To dial them in, it does take a little bit of work, but when you get it right, it creates a super pleasant experience for the user. So make sure you guys experience the different type of animation effects. There's a lot of cool things that you can do in Adobe XD and just dial your project in totally right. So with that, I think we're going to wrap up for today. Make sure you guys stay tuned for the next stream. They're going to be building out some more awesome stuff, and I think talking about how to work with developers in Adobe XD. And make sure you join in tomorrow. We're going to be back with another lesson and carry on through the rest of the week. So thank you all for tuning in and have a wonderful day.